Our purpose today is to respond to some very troubling anti-athlete association comments made by those at the very top of international sport, and to provide some background into the reasons we have undertaken this global initiative. It's time for the collective voice of the athletes to be heard. At this table this morning, we have representatives from world federations of player unions and top player associations, many of whom have members competing here in London.
My reaction to Vehi's comments is the total ignorance of athletes. Basically, he says that athletes have no place on the table and they should have no oxygen whatsoever or have influence on the policy of the WADA and the doping, which is totally ridiculous and an insult to all athletes and players association.
I would question that the athletes are the oxygen. You know, what is sport without sportsmen? So to actually suggest in any shape or form that sports people are irrelevant, I think is deeply insulting, but also shows a clear lack of insight and knowledge.
And we absolutely fundamentally believe it's essential to the credibility of our sport that the player's voice is heard. To see Mr. Fahy's comments in print were astonishing, to say the least. There are hundreds of thousands of athletes we represent globally. There are tens of thousands of people who work, as we all do, representing players to the best of our ability. So to see the short shrift we were given by those comments really sticks in the throat, and we hope going forward there will not only be a retraction, but certainly an absolute commitment to working with players through the association that we are setting up and we're part of.
French national team players have expressed their huge concern regarding integrity, image rights and anti-doping. And it was the best thing for us to be here today representing them at the Olympics in London just before the events who will start the Olympics Saturday. It will show everybody in the rest of the world that professional athletes, and especially top elite athletes, have something to say.
Vehi and Pound and their ilk remind me of sort of McCarthy-era American politicians, seeing communists around every corner, but in their case they see drugs cheats around every corner. They think every athlete is a cheat, and they use that belief to insist that more or less any measure is justified in combating that cheating. And this inevitably means that athletes find themselves under the yoke of WADA instead of being stakeholders in it and advocates of it.
I think now Mr. Vehi needs to think twice before he said things like that in the future, because now he has to count on us, and we're going to be part of the solution and not be part of the problem.
Let me be clear, we are strongly in favour of anti-doping program. What we require is that the program be fair, balanced, agreed by the athletes, and the only way that is going to happen is if WADA come out of their ivory tower and engage with us. It's time for them to grow up and recognise that athletes have a voice and that we are that voice.